Hello and welcome back to our channel. We're so glad to have you here with us again. Before we start, we want you to know something important. This video is not only a story to enjoy. While you listen, you will also be improving your English naturally, and more importantly, you will discover something that could genuinely change the way you learn, study, and grow as a person. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin this journey together. Let's start with something we all experience almost every day. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Have you ever studied something carefully, felt confident about it, and then, just days later, realized you can barely remember any of it? And have you ever wondered whether forgetting means something is wrong with you, or whether it's simply a natural part of being human? Today, we are going to explore the fascinating science of memory, why we forget things, and most importantly, what we can actually do about it. Let's begin with a simple truth. Forgetting is not a sign of failure. In fact, forgetting is a completely normal function of a healthy brain. Our brain receives an enormous amount of information every single day, far more than it could ever store permanently. If we remembered every tiny detail of our lives, our minds would quickly become overwhelmed. So, in a strange way, forgetting actually helps protect us, allowing our brain to focus on what truly matters. However, this brings us to an important question. If forgetting is natural, why do we sometimes forget things we actually wanted to remember, like an important lesson, a useful skill, or something meaningful someone once told us? To answer this, we need to understand how memory actually works. When we learn something new, our brain doesn't immediately store it as a permanent memory. Instead, it first creates a short-term memory, a kind of temporary note that only lasts for a limited period of time. If we never review or use that information again, the brain assumes it isn't important, and it slowly lets it fade away. This process is completely natural, and psychologists have studied it for over a century. One of the most famous discoveries in memory research is something called the forgetting curve. Simply put, this theory shows that we forget information very quickly after learning it, especially within the first day or two, unless we take active steps to reinforce it. This might sound a little discouraging at first, but here's the empowering part. Understanding this curve gives us real practical power to fight against it. So, how exactly can we do that? Scientists have discovered that one of the most effective methods is something called spaced repetition. Instead of reviewing information only once, we return to it again after a short period of time, then again after a slightly longer period, and so on. Each time we review it, the memory becomes stronger and lasts significantly longer in our mind. This is exactly why simply reading something once, then never returning to it, rarely leads to long-term learning. Another powerful factor affecting memory is something called meaningful connection. Our brain finds it much easier to remember information that connects to something we already understand, or something that feels personally relevant to our lives. This is why a lesson connected to a real story, a personal experience, or a strong emotion tends to stay in our memory far longer than a random, isolated fact. This actually explains something truly important about growth and self-improvement. If you want to genuinely learn something, whether it's a new language, a valuable skill, or an important life lesson, simply hearing it once is rarely enough. Real growth requires revisiting an idea, applying it in real situations, and connecting it to your own personal experience. This is exactly why people who truly transform their lives are usually not people who heard the right advice only once, but people who returned to that advice repeatedly, practiced it consistently, and allowed it to become part of who they are. There's also something deeply hopeful hidden within memory science. Just as forgetting is natural, so is the ability to strengthen and rebuild memory through consistent effort. This means that no one is naturally bad at remembering things. Instead, most people simply haven't learned the right strategies to review and reinforce what they've learned. Once you understand how memory truly works, you gain real practical tools to genuinely improve your learning, your habits, and even your personal development. So why does understanding memory truly matter in everyday life? Because it teaches us an incredibly valuable lesson. Progress is rarely built through a single powerful moment. Real, lasting change comes through consistency, repetition, and patience. Whether you're trying to learn a new language, build a healthier habit, or absorb an important life lesson, the secret isn't simply hearing it once. It's returning to it again and again until it becomes a natural part of how you think and live. Let's take a moment now to summarize everything we've learned today. Forgetting is a completely normal function of the human brain, designed to filter out unnecessary information. However, through methods like spaced repetition and meaningful personal connection, we can significantly strengthen our memory and retain what truly matters. Real growth and lasting change rarely come from a single moment of learning, but from consistent effort, patience, and repeated practice over time. Isn't it empowering to realize that improving your memory and truly transforming your life isn't about being naturally gifted, but about applying the right approach consistently over time? If you found today's video meaningful both for your English learning and your personal growth, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating and educational content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.